I always tell that yoga helps you above your shoulder.
Ah, great. Nice line. Nice.
I didn't practice for this. I usually say it.
Yeah, ऐसे ही आ जाता है. These one-liners just come.
No, genuinely. Hi guys, my name is Sarvesh Shashi and I've been a yoga practitioner since I was about 6 years old, so about 26 years of practice. And after all these years, what I've realized is yoga really takes people to their core. You go inward a lot. And on that note, I welcome all of you all to the first episode of Hanging Out. So our first guest on the Hanging Out episode is Janice Sequeira. She's an amazing YouTuber, a talk show host, and also a very dear friend. Thank you so much for coming.
Yay!
How are you doing?
I am excited.
How excited are you? Finally doing a yoga class with me after I don't know how many years, right?
Nervous but excited.
Let's go, let's go. Hi Janice.
Hi, Sarvesh.
Welcome to Hanging Out.
Yeah,
And
literally you
finally
made
we're
me
hanging
hang out, no?
Yeah, well, this was the only way to get you to do some form of yoga with me.
Actually, this is true. Every time I meet you, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming for a class, I'm coming for a class. And then somehow or the other, I've not made it to a class. But little did I know that the first time I'd be doing aerial yoga with you, that too on camera. Yeah, very, very elegant all of this is going to look.
What happens is usually when there is a camera, right, everybody, their poses and their entire interest enhances. So I thought, that's the best way to do it.
Wow, that's like a lot of pressure because I feel like I'm a very clumsy person even on camera, okay?
That's okay. We'll manage, don't worry. So it's a double whammy for me, camera and yoga. Let's see how clumsy you get.
Basically, you will be showing off and
No,
I will be looking like this.
We'll do very basic stuff. It's just to tell people that yoga is also fun.
Yoga is fun. It's
health
just that
is fun, mental health is fun, physical health is fun.
True. All very true.
So, what has been keeping you busy lately? What have you been up to?
Unfortunately, only work. And I feel like I'm beginning to become like that phrase, all work and no play makes Janice a dull girl. I've genuinely
Why is there no play?
There's no play, yaar. I feel like I really, like you know, how I want to go on a vacation, but for some reason, I'm not being able to really find that gap. And also, with my girlfriends, like we're not being able to find that one, like, you know how when you sometimes all your friends are busy and we was like, okay, let's match calendars, और वो calendar match ही नहीं हो रहा है.
Girlfriends matching calendar is almost close to impossible because I mean when I organize some trips for health and wellness, we're a bunch of people and then when there is a group of about 4, 5, 6 women or whatever, we all put ourselves in a group. For 3 months, only dates are being
discussed. Yeah.
Dates are being discussed.
I feel like that's happening now even when we have to meet for lunches and dinners, yeah. We have to, like, I swear, I kid you not, this just happened. A friend is visiting from Malaysia and she's one of our really close girlfriends. So 4 of us are in Bombay and the rest are outside the city, right? So she is literally called at like 8 a.m. one morning saying, guys, I need to block you guys to block your calendar on this date for brunch because I'm here in town. And we're like, wow, it's come to this where we have to block our calendars. Feels like an event, yeah, but it's crazy.
No, I mean, coming to that, right? Because you're always in front of the camera and you are a sort of public figure in that sense. What does digital detox mean to you? Like, how do you actually digitally detox? Because that's becoming it's actually becoming an issue, for the lack of a better word.
So I'll tell you what, okay, the last 1.5, actually almost 2 years now that we're into 2024, I've realized that my relationship with social media has changed a great degree. I'm not saying I don't have days of like sitting and absolutely doom scrolling, where you're just looking at reel after reel or like, you know, looking at all the stories and stuff like that.
What's the first thing you do in the morning?
Unfortunately, I still pick up my phone first thing in the morning to stop my alarm.
Okay.
Because it goes off for workout. So that's the first thing I do in the morning. But no. The first thing I do, guys, and this is true, is at 6:30 a.m., like clockwork, my oldest cat, Audrey, will come meow near my ear because that is her first feeding time. I have 3 cats. So actually they're my morning alarm. 6:30 a.m. first thing in the morning, I get up to give them their feed and then drink water, go back.
Some saving grace you've got now, thanks to your cats.
Yeah. But then when I actually wake up, which is around like 8:39, that's when I'm waking up to, okay, alarm baj gaya, pehle alarm band karo.
So you were saying about digital detox. You do have endless scrolling days?
I do, but I also feel like I've learned now to do certain things to safeguard my own mental health. One is that most of my apps are now on a timer.
Okay.
Like, you know, you can go to settings and say only use for these many minutes in a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and also so when I have to open the app, it says remind me in 15 minutes. So if I've been on the app for more than 15 minutes,
Oh, wow.
it tells me that, okay, like,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it literally shuts off and I have to say, no, ignore it if I really want to ignore it. The idea is that what was happening is that, we'd get on whatever social media platform because we wanted to do work, post, reply to messages, reply to comments, see how a particular video or a post is doing. Because for us creators, a lot of it is work, right? But then what was also happening is that you're doom scrolling. You're looking at what other creators are doing. You're looking at what your friends are doing. You're looking at what your family is doing. And before you know it, 2-3 hours of what could be very useful, valuable work time has just disappeared into thin air.
My issue is actually not even that, and I'm using the word issue very consciously, is 2-3 hours is gone in thin air.
Yeah.
Impact of that 2-3 hours lasts longer.
Much longer.
Like what happens is, there's a very interesting saying that anything good happens to you in your life, you often tend to forget it very soon. But if anything not so pleasant happens to you in your life, you actually mull over it time and again, time and again. There is no letting it go and going forward. You know, coming to that, I know you've sort of been through a lot in life. And you've sort of experienced death at a very early age. And yoga, my Guruji says, yoga is not the art of living, it's actually the art of dying. So I'll probably explain that a little bit. But what have you learned? Because I think many people have gone through some form of loss at different points in their life. And no one's loss is similar. It's very, very different. But that emotion of grief could be similar. So how did you actually come out of it, or coming out of it, or actually what have you done in all these years for that?
So I lost my dad when I was 17 and a half, and it happened overnight. He passed away due to a massive cardiac arrest. And
no symptoms of anything else?
I mean, he did have high cholesterol and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we did know that, he was taking medication and stuff for that. But yeah, when the heart attack eventually, because he was also a very fit man. Was one of those who would get up at the crack of dawn, 6 o'clock, wherever in the world we were, whether on vacation or at home or wherever, could go for his 30 minutes of walk, come back and then do the Shirshasana, which is on his his head,
King of asanas.
Yeah. So he would do that every day without fail for like 30 minutes of walk and 30 minutes of Shirshasana, and then his day would begin. But in his early 40s, he had like cholesterol issues, and so when the heart attack came, it just came out of nowhere, Sarvesh. So, and to go on a tangent here, since then, because so many friends and people I know have also dealt with loss of a parent, we've actually discussed also, is it sometimes, like what might be better? Is it to know that a parent is fighting a long-term illness, or is it to lose them overnight and that be a shock? And no one has the answer. It's very morbid to even think about what might be a better way to cope, right? Like I could say that, because it was a shock, I didn't have any time to really like make amendments. Like, I was 17, so I was one of those kids who was fighting with their dad over every stupid thing and like rebelling and stuff like that. But if you know that they're fighting through something, your relationship with them also changes, right? So I feel like for me, and I mean, going to talk for myself, I didn't deal with it for many, many years. I don't think even after my dad's death, immediately for almost 2 months, I even realized it.
Oh, okay.
This is despite like relatives coming over and saying you should cry, you should do this. I mean, I was crying, but it felt very perfunctory and performative. It didn't feel like this was something that had sunk in.
Yeah, it was still suppressed.
Yeah, and also the person that I am, I'm the kind of person who likes to, in case you notice, like likes to take charge of things a lot. So I feel the same thing happened. Fully noticed. So the same thing also kind of happened with his funeral. I kind of saw that my mom had fallen apart, and even though every family member was there, had to take charge, and so kind of put everything else on the back burner. And there's a very strange thing that happened, like when I was resuming college, in the early days, like, of going back to college, one of the days I was taking an auto from home to the station, and there's a guy crossing the road, and he looked from behind in built and form so much like my father.
Oh, wow.
And so suddenly there I was like
Bawling.
Howling in the auto, and the auto wala couldn't figure out what has
happening.
happened. And I think, I mean, it's all a blur to me, because I think I just remember him, I think, offering me water to wash my face and to drink, and I think I ended up going back home. But after that, I feel like I started working at a very young age, so I just completely drove myself into work, like anything to distract from it. But here's the thing about trauma, right? And now talk about it a lot more now. Mental health is such a big topic. But when I was 17, it really wasn't. Talking about telling your parents that you need to go to a counselor, need to deal with grief therapy, all of this would have been like, why, what is wrong? Like, either you had to have a major mental health issue. But things like dealing with grief, the kind of depression or anxiety or other things that it brings with it, no one was really like dealing with that. But in my 30s, I realized that so many of the issues that I possibly have stem from that one massive trauma that happened so early in my life.
Always. I have there was a very interesting thing that, most traumas, like most traumas, happen within the family at a very, very young age, and not being dealt with that at the right time, with the right help, etc., keeps getting suppressed and then carries on, and then you're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize this at a much age. So what is potentially your guidance to somebody who's gone through it, and what would your 2 cents be to give them some form of guidance, right? I mean, I don't believe in advice and all that, because to each is their own.
So first thing is like, don't tell people to get over it or move on with their lives, because really, like, if you're not in their shoes,
you can never understand it. No, true.
And grief is so different for so many people, Sarvesh. I mean, like, even today, and for me, I've had like 20 years of now dealing with the fact that he's not there, right? My dad's not there. And even today, it's still difficult to talk about it without feeling some measure of emotion and like whatever, right? But so the first thing, unfortunately, I've had like 2-3 really close friends in this year alone who've lost a parent. And
I have a friend who lost his father on one day, mother next day, because both of them were really close. So they literally, I mean, they left the world days apart.
I mean, there feels like there's a little bit of beauty in that also.
100%. I mean, I think, and with all gratitude, love, compassion, I'm saying this because the way he explained it to me itself was beautiful, that they just couldn't live without each other because they were old enough, etc. But for him, it was like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah, your world collapsed.
Yeah.
But it's also, if you look at it maybe later in life, it's a beautiful love story. Like, to have a love like that.
Yeah, fully. And he's a very well respected public name, public figure, etc. And I always say this, right? Grass is always green on the other side. You don't know what is happening. And if you're not in that other person's shoes, the only one small request I tell everybody is, don't judge. Always
don't judge. Don't tell them what to do, how to be. Don't try and hurry up the process, because for some people, they might seem normal in a couple of weeks. For some people, they might take a few more months. For some people, it might erupt every now and then. Like, And the thing about having lost anyone who's really close to you is that you don't know when something is going to remind you of them. Like, I have very strange things that now I think about. Like, my dad used to love using only sandalwood soaps.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I think if I'm not wrong, it was Mysore Sandalwood, that brand. So he was very particular about that, and he only smoked twice a day. So it was like a ritual. Okay, so whenever he left the bathroom, and if you had to use it after him, the smell would be a mixture of sandalwood and cigarette. But the thing is that soap now, so whenever for example, if I travel down south, especially because that soap is still so popular, it instantly evokes a memory.
Got it.
Or like weird things like filter coffee, because he was obsessed with filter coffee. We always had like the percussion and ready in the house to go. And now I feel like it's been years since I've like been doing it for myself. But yeah, so I'm saying with people who've lost anyone who's close to them, you don't know what's going to firstly trigger a memory. Secondly, like, don't try to tell them to like, come on, get over it, jaldi karo, ye karo. Nahi hoga, yeah. Let them do it at their own pace and time, and cry. Take whether you want to cry, whether you want to be by yourself, take all the time that you need. And if you're feeling like you're not getting that support from family, then by all means, I anyway say go to therapy, because it's very important to have a third person who's not invested in your life in any way, being very practical about how you should handle that situation.
Non-biased, right? They'll give you a very neutral view of
Correct,
sorts.
because if I'm your friend or I'm your family member,
I'm pro you.
I'm very biased towards how I'm more concerned about how to get your well-being and you
Better
to be
and,
okay.
and not give you facts. Like
Correct.
somebody has to tell you, yes, cry your heart out, cry your
Or
lungs
he's
out.
in a better place, she's in a better,
Better
place.
place.
Or these are all
Angel.
like these are all like wishy-washy things to say, yaar. But what are the actual tools to cope?
Cope.
Or what can you do when you're feeling that, you know, that feeling of like sinking, drowning, feeling of like, oh my God, I'm not going to see this person ever again.
What's probably one thing about you that nobody knows and you're willing to say? Because the reason I ask you that question is you're a very bubbly, happy, always smiling person, right? But
Am I? Okay.
At least, I mean, the little that I know you, what we see, etc. is one. But there is always a deep inner child that is there, which nobody really knows about, talks about at all. And you know, some of them you're saying right now, how you've coped and what have you done and how you're still coping and how memories get evoked in your mind. So what is that one thing about you that nobody knows?
Shit, this is really difficult. I feel like I'm such an oversharer that is there something, but I'm certain that there is. It's just that
I'm sure.
I don't know, man. Right now,
Or one thing that, you know, or one thing that people think of you is X, but it's actually not like
okay,
that.
so the thing is that I feel like I am an emotional person, and that sort of comes across sometimes also. Like along with the bubbliness and all that, I'm extremely emotional. I'm extremely like invested in the people I love and this and that. And sometimes I feel like when you're in this space that we are in as creators, media, barely almost famous kind of, oh, you've seen you somewhere. It's kind of seen as like, why are you emotional about things?
Well, now you have a national award too, so there's no more creators seeing or anything, right? All of you all, you have a national award on your name, so.
Who has a national award?
The creators have the National Creators Award. The Creators
Oh,
Award is
that
now
is a wholly
national award.
controversial topic.
Yeah, well, we can get controversial, no problem at all.
No, I mean, see, the thing is that the fact that creators
Recognition,
are being,
right? At the end of the day, it's recognition. And I think, I believe anybody with influence needs to be recognized, assuming that the influence is positive and changing the world. Very simple. Very simple. It can be you're influencing 10 people, 10,000 people, 10 million people. But if you're able to influence and put somebody in the right path, in whatever sense you can. I mean, if you're able.
but isn't that very subjective to what you think is right and wrong?
Yeah, 100%. It is very subjective. But again, like I said, there's a gamut of things, right? Whether you're making them healthier, whether you're giving them a little bit more financial freedom, whether you're emotionally supporting them. If your conversation about how to cope changes at least one person's thought, that for me is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm talking from my point of view completely.
No, I get it. And I see it. But I'm just saying that sometimes also I think like people give us way too much importance for something that is actually very basic.
Oh, 100%.
You know, I feel like a lot of us are just doing our jobs.
Yeah.
And the influencer part of it just comes from the fact that
Somebody's talking about it and somebody's recognizing it and that's about it.
yeah, but you know, that feels like a great deal of responsibility sometimes because I feel like not everyone's thinking about it.
I know.
Like, it's like, okay, something you say on your channel or something you say on your live could actually change how someone else is thinking. So you really now need to, because you're saying there is national recognition, now there are all these awards, there are all these spaces that are being created to make us more visible on a completely different level. There has to now start being more responsibility.
I'm sure.
And that involves also, for example, like earlier, I wouldn't think twice before I was hanging out with friends and happily publicly putting them on my pages or this and that. And now there is so much more thought. I'm like, does everyone need to know what is happening in my damn private life? Do my friends and people associated with me need to be tagged by randos who will then slide into their DMs and want to chat with them? Do they need to deal with that? Do my private moments need to be necessarily captured on the internet?
Does these things have security threats for your friends? Like when I mean security, I mean privacy threats. Like you said, you tag 4 people and then somebody who's your fan follower reaches out.
So this has happened a couple of times and that's why I said, and even then I hadn't learned my lessons then. Now I feel like I'm a lot more aware of it. So one was during the Me Too movement. So Tanushree Datta was the first actor to come forward and talk about the fact that, you know, She had been sort of harassed on a film set and etc. by, I mean, anyone who knows will Google it and everything. So at that point in time, no one was taking her story very seriously. And I remember that I was the first reporter to come forward and corroborate the story, because I was really a junior reporter who was on that set and who had witnessed a lot of what she said.
Got it.
And before we knew it, it became a national story, of course, overnight, with every actor saying that, okay, now you have an actor saying it, you have a journalist who's also come forward and corroborated it. And it got, like, literally every and any actor you can think of in India sort of started sharing the story and saying, we need to do something about this. Now, what happened is that the actor who was accused in this entire thing is also considered, he's a veteran actor, first of all, and also considered a role model for so many, right? So a lot of people were not willing to accept him being depicted in this manner. And so before we knew it, it was like happening on Instagram, there were threats everywhere. I remember at one point my mom called me and she was like, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry, because I've just received a WhatsApp forward that says that Janice, Sequeira and Tanushree Datta were paid by the Vatican to do this and ruin the name of good whatever. Like, how is this even happening? My own neighbors were in the building. When they'd meet me in the lift, they'd be like, "Aapke saath bhi me too hua." Like, it became like, "Aapke saath bhi me too hua." I'm like, clearly aapne article padha nahi theek se. And then what happened is that every setting had to change, because they then started going after every person who was tagged with me and seemingly close to me.
Close to you, okay.
So it also happened another time when there is a very, very popular, one of India's most popular YouTubers, who had said something quite distasteful about women and was then interviewed about security of women by another big YouTube channel. So I found it really hypocritical. I'm opinionated. I've been told to shut up quite often, but you know what? My point is that one life, live with your conscience.
100%.
So I spoke out about it, and that his army, oh. I mean, literally every setting had to change. They went back to pictures of me and my father and said, your father would be ashamed of you. He would wish you were dead. You should have died in his place. So, So the internet is vicious. And the problem is, the fuck up is, sorry, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but yeah, when they start to go after your family members, or they start tagging your mother, or they start tagging your friends and stuff like that, that's when it becomes a really, really shitty place to be.
Yeah. Would you ever do anything else if you were given another chance?
No. I'll tell you why. Because as much as there is today the internet is the main platform. All the social media platforms is where we put out our content. But what I get to do, which is to sit down and have conversations with people that I'm genuinely interested in, to go out onto the streets and find out what Gen Z is thinking, to create content and to create IPs and to bring what is happening in my head, that sort of, bring it to life in terms of a set, in terms of an IP, in terms of a show, that I wouldn't trade for anything. Because I love my job, yeah, Sarvesh. I mean, whether it was when I was a broadcast journalist who was standing outside hospitals and morgues and celebrity homes and doing live reporting, or now when I get to create shows, irrespective of the platform, the point is the job that I do, I love.
Truly enjoy.
I love being a host. I love being on stage. I love sitting and having conversations. The internet part of it is the secondary part of it for me. The joy comes from, like, I'm sitting here and chatting with you. I love doing this.
Got it.
And to think that I get paid to do what I love, I will do it happily forever.
Ever. Fair. And because you're talking about what you love, if I had to ask you, what would a perfect day, D-A-Y, look like in your life? And what would the 3 things your perfect day would consist of? Can make it 3 or 5, but not more. Ideally 3, but yes.
Okay, so a perfect day right now, like the kind that I would look forward to, would only be one of 2. One is if I'm on vacation, putting it out into the universe, please send me on a vacation.
Where?
I want to go I want to go to a nice beachy location. So it could, like the fastest could be maybe Thailand or Bali, but...
out of India. Like Pondicherry is not beachy.
I mean, my point is, if I go to Pondicherry or Goa, it's like now they've all become mini Bombays.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, out of India. So, or the other opposite would be to start off my day with a great workout, go into a shoot that I'm super excited about, feel happy at the end of it. And as you do more of this, you'll know when you've had a good day of shoot and when it's been so-so. So when you have that good day of shoot, now that's also a different high. That's a great dopamine hit, for me at least. Finish a great day of shoot, celebrate that with my team, come back home, and then hopefully find that someone to celebrate it with, or just be at home with. Or actually, you know what, even if there's no special someone, that's perfectly okay, as long as I've got my friends, my cats, and some good thing to watch on TV. Yeah, that would be an ideal day. And then before going to sleep, read 10 to 20 pages of a book I'm really invested in and close the day.
Wow.
That's like a good day for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
And 3 things you said that would make my day happy.
No, these are the 3 things. What would a perfect day consist of? And you've given all 3.
Yeah.
And just another interesting question that I love asking people, just to understand how they are, like their thought process, is if you would like to invite a fictional character for dinner.
Oh, I know this. Elizabeth, oh my God, Bennett.
And why?
I need someone to Google this before I screw this up, because I am from childhood. So my mother was doing her PhD on the life and times of the Bronte sisters.
Okay.
Okay. So growing up in my household was lot of newspaper reading, and also a lot of literature reading. And by literature, I mean like there were always all these like Jane Austen, Brontes, all these like lying around quite like commonly. And Pride and Prejudice, I think, was the first literature kind of book that I read, and I immediately fell in love with the character of Elizabeth Bennet.
Okay.
And like she was a feminist who was so unapologetic, and yes, eventually it's a love story with Mr. Darcy and all of that, but there's so much more to her. Like I have read Pride and Prejudice in, I think, every form available. Old English, abridged, unabridged, comic. I watched the BBC series. I watched every adaptation of it made into a movie.
Wow.
So I am quite like obsessed with Elizabeth Bennet. Please tell me it is Elizabeth Bennet and I'm not getting it wrong, because that would be shameful.
And then it'll be interesting that you've read it in every form and shape, and
But you know, it's also been a while since I haven't spoken about it. Like the minute you said like fictional or literary character, I was like, it has to be Elizabeth Bennet. And unfortunately, there's also Elizabeth Arden, which is a really big fashion house. So, and I don't want to get mixed up in a second. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just to sort of
Have you read Pride and Prejudice?
Me? No.
You must.
I've read only Tinkle Supandi jokes.
Okay.
And then
I've read those too.
Then I've read 3 books in my life.
Okay.
A total of 3 books in my life.
What are those 3 books?
One is the Lance Armstrong book. It's not all about the bike. One was this book called 92 Little Tricks to Have a Great Conversation.
Okay.
And the third one is Winners Don't Do Different Things, They Do Things Differently by Sequeira. When I was really, really young. Because I watch a lot. Okay. Like Secret and all of these things I've watched, because I'm a visual guy. Like more than reading, I like visual. So I end up watching a lot, and I love reading snippets of things. So that's why I love the InShots app.
No, yeah, I feel like books are my homies. Books
I started reading. I've done a lot of these proverb-ish books that my Guruji's asked me to read a few books, so that I continue reading because it's a lot spiritual in nature.
Yeah.
So that's what I do there.
I just feel like, you know, when you have a book on you, and now I have my Kindle on me all the time, I feel like you're never alone.
Well, now I've written a book. I've authored a book.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's called How Do You Fall in Love with Yoga? Of course.
Of course.
And very little story about me, and most of it is about how yoga can be helpful, which is actually my next question. What is your take on yoga and how yoga can help in physical and mental health?
So I'll tell you what, I was actually a proper yoga practitioner until I had my back surgery. Okay. So in 2021, I underwent a microdiscectomy for my L4, L5 after an advanced slip disc.
Okay.
So, but before that and before the lockdown, actually for at least about 2.5 years, I used to practice yoga, like, you know, there used to be a trainer, or like a teacher who used to come home and teach me and everything. And the one thing that I loved about doing yoga, and I miss sometimes, is that my body felt so damn elastic. Like, you know, like, I remember there was this one moment, like milestones in yoga, right, when you can bend down and touch your forehead to your knee.
Oh, wow.
At one point, we had managed to do that. Or when you're doing the chakrasan, and, you know, again, you can, like, there's that, you to achieve a certain way, like, you know, when that position is perfect.
Yeah.
So, or, like, I still love doing Surya Namaskars. It's like, when I can't do anything, I will still do Surya Namaskars.
It's the best full body sort of workout.
It really feels like a full body workout. But I remember my yoga instructor, after we felt like we would build, you know, we'd do like started with 10, then became 20, then became 30, then became 40, 50, and then we did the 101. That one time I've done it in life.
Oh, wow.
And during lockdown, I remember when I couldn't do, and when there was no, I had not gotten onto any online exercise or anything up till then. But I started doing Surya Namaskars every day like an obsessed person.
Oh, wow.
And I'd gone up to doing about 85.
You should do 108 sometime.
I know, right? I was like, oh, no. I was like, and also that my body was at its leanest without doing anything at that point. Then, of course, I had a back surgery.
Mental health? How did it do anything to the way you thought, how you were reacting in situations,
I feel like with
situations?
Surya Namaskars, or actually, okay, I'm going to say this about workout and not just yoga, but any form of physical
Workout,
exercise. Like, we need to talk more about what it does to your mind than just to your body.
Yeah.
I am not joking. This is one of my biggest coping mechanisms, that whenever I'm feeling like I've had a shitty day, if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling like any kind of anxiety is upon me, if I can take out even 30 minutes to go for a run, or to sit and, like put on a YouTube video and follow that, or to do maybe 30 to 40 Surya Namaskars and do it properly. At the end of it, that little thing that it does for my mind is suddenly I feel relaxed. Which is why, like, now more than ever before, I'm just like, you know what, I need to find a way to take myself to my gym, to my classes, come what may, because it's not so much for my body. The body is a great benefit, advantage, but it's more for my mind. I love what it does. You feel so much better here.
I always tell that yoga helps you above your shoulder.
Great, nice line.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't practice for this. I usually say it.
These one-liners just come.
No, genuinely, Baba. Genuinely.
No, it's great.
I talk a lot, right? So it's the first time I'm asking questions. Usually I get asked questions.
You're doing very well so far.
I'm also thinking कि क्या और क्या पूछना है और list में क्या क्या है, etc.
List and all you should not think about. My golden rule for interviewing is, if you know the person who you're shooting with, go in with certain things that you might want to cover, but otherwise let the conversation drive you. Right. Unless, of course, it's like, you're doing it like, okay, this is an interview of national interest and I need to ask these hard-hitting questions.
National interest,
oh, please, yaar. I'm of national interest within my society, my floor.
You're getting Vatican inquiries and all.
Huh?
You're getting Vatican inquiries.
Vatican se WhatsApp and all is coming. Yeah, too much.
Anyways. Well, I think before we wrap up, I have one final question, right? There is so much that's happened in your life. From a work point of view, from a personal point of view, you've seen a lot, you've gone through a lot. One message in the most simplified term that somebody can actually put to practice.
Okay, so I have this belief that I now live my life by, that you don't earn anything else in your life except for people.
You don't earn anything else except for people in your life. Okay.
Because you can't buy people.
Okay.
Because of the couple of years that I've been through, and personally and stuff like that, and to see that how people I love and people I'm close to, and how they've come to be there for me and how I've been there for them. And it made me realize something very, very, very basic, that paisa, fame, success will come and will go. You'll go up, you'll go down. You'll go up, you'll go down. The only thing that you need, though, is that who is in your corner when everything goes to shit, or even when everything is going great.
And those people, are they the same with you?
Yeah.
That's very important, right? Like,
I think, by the way, if you ask this question to most people, they'll say it's the people who knew you before you were actually deciding what you wanted to do with your life.
In life.
But also, to keep those friendships, to keep those relationships, to keep those bonds is not something that happens without effort.
I was just going to say.
So my point is, at the end of the day, everything else, okay, you could, will come and go, but the only thing that you've earned are the people who continue to stay in your corner.
And it also requires a lot of effort from both sides, right? So, because often what happens is you end up taking these people for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you realize it a lot later that, oh my God, these were my people, etc.
Yeah.
So the effort is very, very important from both ends, at least from mine, because I have 8 best friends. Like, we're a group of 8 boys. We've been classmates since 8th standard, literally. And even today, we're pretty much the same. Our gang.
What is the WhatsApp group name?
Boys.
Of course it is, boys.
The boys gang.
And here we'll put that no, I'm kidding. But no, I have a similar story. So we are 6 girls. We went to Xavier's together, and so we've known each other since we were 17. And
Let's introduce the gang.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Like anyway, but I'm saying like we're still, together. We're still thick as thieves. There have been, of course, other people also have come into my life after that. But yeah, I mean, primarily when I need a reality
Interesting that
check.
you're saying thick as thieves because our company, we all of us have a company together called TAT, Thick as Thieves.
How to say the most cliched things about friendships? Group name, boys. Company name, thick as thieves. So you don't earn anything else in life except for people in your corner.
So, earn a lot of people, earn a lot of amazing people in your life. Keep them. I'm sure you've already earned them, but you often neglect and take them for granted. So yeah. Thank you very much, Janice, for being a part of this small little hanging out session.
Yeah, I actually have a series called The Hangout, but now I'm thinking maybe I should change the name because this is literally like The Hangout.
Hangout. This is proper hanging out.
I had fun, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You'll easily do it because you're very flexible.
Sit. Lovely.
Okay,
No, I need to
now
go in deeper.
important part is how you simultaneously hold this fully. Simultaneously, you play your back. Now lock. 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 You're not locking. Lock. Can we start?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So after 3,682 attempts,
Thanks.
we've come to inversion.
Yeah, but I'm holding on to for dear life.
No, you're not holding on. I'm not going to ask you the question unless you let go of your hands.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say a few words. What are the first things that come into your mind? Love,
Cats.
commitment,
Scared.
unity,
Team.
family,
Everything.
home.
Cats.
Wow, that's a lot of cat answers. Compassion,
Basic.
gratitude,
Basic.
mental health,
Most important.
physical health.
Equally important, but not as.
Okay, lovely. Now close your eyes. Just breathe in, breathe out.
But I did it!
Yes, you did. I told
Okay.
you.
I know it looked like terrible,
No?
but
Well done.
I'm so proud of that.
Well, if you've come this far in the episode, thank you so much for watching it. And if you like it, please leave your comments, like, share, and subscribe so that you get notified with all our episodes that's going to be coming out. It's going to be very interesting. There'll be a lot of learnings. There'll be a lot of personal life conversations that's going to be happening where you'll get to know these people a little bit better and a little bit deeper.